Well, let's move on to a video clip from CTV. It is Premier Danielle Smith yet again trying to make it
Being the
perfectly
best.
clear where she stands
I know.
on the separation issue. But I get the feeling the media doesn't like the answers they're getting.
Right.
So let's roll this clip and then decompartmentalize it afterwards.
Ontario's Premier Doug Ford yesterday was asked about some of the conversation going on around separation, and in particular, your own contribution to that conversation. He made the point, quote unquote, this is a time to unite against the tariffs and other threats from Donald Trump, not talk about things that separate us. Does he have a point there?
I think we've got two issues in Alberta. One is, of course, working with our fellow premiers and the Prime Minister on trying to get a renegotiated Canada-U.S. free trade agreement. But the other is that we need to have a new deal with Ottawa as well. When I talk to Albertans, when you think about how fearful Canadians are of the impact that Donald Trump will have on the economy, that's how fearful Albertans are that an approach that the Liberals have taken for the last 10 years will continue and damage our economy. So I would like to see, and I'm hopeful that we can, I've had a good couple of first conversations with Prime Minister Carney, that we can address some of those pressure points and really unleash all of the investment that we know will happen in Alberta when some of those barriers are out of the way.
You know, Sheila, can Doug Ford stop meddling? You know, I'm getting a little sick of this.
He's done enough to us.
He
can
did.
Stop.
You know, the week before the federal election with that astonishing betrayal of the conservative movement. But, you know, I got to wonder, what is his motivation? You know, Dougie, trust me, if Alberta becomes a sovereign nation, you're still going to get the ingredients you need to make those cherry cheesecakes. Don't worry, Doug, it'll be business as usual at the dining table. So, you know, if I'm Danielle Smith, I'm really getting a little peeved off about Dougie meddling all the time, Sheila.
Yeah, Doug Ford can shut his mouth.
Exactly.
The entire problem that Albertans have right now is some disconnected, bloated politician from Ontario keeps trying to run our lives and tell us to sit down and shut up. So maybe he could read the room and stay out of our business. He's done enough. Don't worry, your equalization payments will keep coming, at least for now. He's done enough to the conservative movement. And if he has designs on being the leader of the official opposition with hopes to one day be in the Prime Minister's office, he doesn't do that without us. So he can help shove us out the door, but it will end his political aspirations of being the next conservative prime minister of this country, because you take all the big blue voters right out of the middle of the country.
Yeah, I mean, that has been floated, Sheila, that he is aspirational.
Oh, for sure he does.
But you know,
for sure.
And I'll tell you when I'll get scared is when Doug Ford starts taking French lessons, because I believe he doesn't speak a word of French, and that's a non-starter if you're going to be a prime minister.
Yeah, but, well, not one might say the same thing about our current Prime Minister, Mark Carney. I know Alexis got some real issues with his French, so I mean, he might. I mean, who knows? He might be taking French in the background. I don't know. But if he, like I said, if he has designs on the Prime Minister's office, do you think you get there by alienating Alberta? Not a chance.
Unbelievable. Also, speaking of polls, Sheila, Scott Moe, he was referencing a new poll indicating a high level of anger and frustration in Saskatchewan, driven by years of unconsulted anti-resource policies of the Trudeau NDP government. I love that, the Trudeau/NDP government.
Yeah.
It also shows there was a clear path forward for Prime Minister Mark Carney, repeal Bill C-69.
Yeah.
And then I can't read the rest to allow
Okay, so
something.
this is just Scott Moe responding to the polling data that I read earlier.
Right.
And in the polling data, it said C-69 approve major mining and energy projects, remove the oil and gas production cap, which is the emissions cap, and the support for the separation drops significantly. But we know that Mark Carney is doubling down on this stuff. And, you know, they weren't even polled on the canola tariff stuff. Like, and what, you know, in a tariff war with the United States, we were told, okay, would you mind going broke for the rest of us? Would you mind cutting off the oil and gas and the potash to the Americans, just to help the rest of us out. And we rightly said no. You won't even let us build a pipeline. You want us to unemploy ourselves? Get bent. And Scott Moe's right. He is saying like the creator of the separatist movement in the West is Ottawa, and they continue to put fuel on the fire.
100%. And we have, we do slam the mainstream media often, and rightly so. But one of the good guys, folks, is Joe Warmington, the squalor with the Toronto Sun. And he has an article here. When it comes to Alberta's wants, Coach Don Cherry says Canada should listen. Sheila, wouldn't Grapes be a great prime minister?
Yes. He would. He's reasonable, and here's a guy who does invoke Canadiana nostalgia to me.
Yep.
And I don't have a lot of that within me. But yeah, I mean, he's saying, he said, we want a better deal, like Albertans, they want a better deal, and they deserve it, is what he said to the Toronto Sun. Doug Ford never said that about us.
No.
He just basically said, sorry, Alberta, just shut up and take it.
Yeah.
And this idea that even Danielle Smith is fomenting referendum. She's actually repeatedly said, I'm a federalist. I don't want to leave, but the people have issues and the people should have a say. And all the politicians who only care what their voters have to say every 4 years are losing their minds about this. And I'm glad that Don Cherry understands why we feel the way we do.
Let's face it, Canada's economy isn't heading in the right direction. Inflation's eating away your savings, and government debt is out of control. No politician is going to fix that overnight. With Guildhall Wealth, you can hold real physical gold and silver inside your RRSP. It's a time-tested way to protect your retirement and take back control of your wealth. Call 1-877-8-SILVER or visit guildhallwealth.com/rebel to request your free investor kit. And hey, make sure to mention Rebel News.